Imagine you are walking down a completely deserted city street at midnight, and you suddenly notice a crowd of 30 completely normal people staring directly up at a blank space in the sky. Your brain is scientifically hardwired to instantly tilt your own head upward to look at absolutely nothing. And this primal survival reflex is the exact same mechanism that multi-billion-dollar corporation algorithms exploit to control your wallet. You almost certainly believe that every single item currently sitting inside your closet or your digital shopping cart was selected entirely because of your own unique, independent taste and personal autonomy. What most people never realize is that a hidden cognitive glitch quietly hijacks your brain before you ever tap a screen, meaning that roughly 90% of your choices were actually made by complete strangers. Psychologists have documented this invisible manipulation mechanism for decades, and the deep, uncomfortable truth behind how it operates is something that almost nobody in modern society is willing to explain to you clearly. I break down exactly one massive psychological concept per video in completely plain English. So if you genuinely want to protect your mind and understand why you spend money, subscribe and turn on the bell. To truly understand how easily your mind gets hijacked every single day, we have to look directly at a groundbreaking psychological phenomenon that was formally brought to light by researcher Robert Cialdini in his landmark 1984 study. Dr. Cialdini discovered that whenever human beings are placed in situations of even slight ambiguity or confusion, they instinctively look around at the actions of others to determine the correct way to behave. The evolutionary name for this deep internal survival mechanism is informational social influence, and thousands of years ago, it successfully kept our primitive ancestors alive by preventing them from wandering into dangerous territory alone. If you saw your entire tribe suddenly drop their hunting tools and sprint away in fear, your brain did not evolve to sit down and logically analyze the bushes for predators before running. You simply ran alongside the crowd because assuming that the collective group possessed superior, life-saving knowledge was the absolute safest bet your survival-driven mind could possibly make in that terrifying moment. Think about the last time you bought a product with a generic 5-star rating online. And I want you to honestly ask yourself if you actually trusted the brand or just trusted the sheer volume of faces. But here is the part that researchers themselves found completely shocking when they looked directly at how easily this ancient survival mechanism can be artificially manufactured in a laboratory setting. In a famous behavioral study led by Noah Goldstein and Robert Cialdini in 2008, researchers subtly changed a few simple words on standard hotel bathroom cards to see if they could manipulate human cleanliness habits. The standard card used by hotels for decades simply begged guests to protect nature by reusing their towels, which only resulted in a very mediocre baseline level of compliance from environmental travelers. However, when the researchers swapped the message to state that 75% of previous guests who stayed in that exact room reused their towels, compliance suddenly skyrocketed by over 33%. This jaw-dropping data point proved that human beings care significantly less about abstract global environmental protection than they care about conforming to the hyper-localized behavior of complete strangers who slept in their bed. Before I get to the most counterintuitive part of how this concept completely drains your personal bank account, and trust me, this next reveal is going to deeply surprise you. Let us first look at how corporations weaponize this. Silicon Valley engineers do not build digital interfaces to help you discover your authentic identity. They deliberately design platforms to trigger your ancient herd mentality panic buttons every single time you open an app. When an e-commerce website shows you a tiny, flashing red text box stating that 16 other people are looking at this exact hotel room right now, your brain experiences a miniature survival emergency. The software platform is intentionally manufacturing an artificial state of social urgency, forcing your brain to assume that if 16 other humans desire this asset, it must inherently possess immense survival value. You are no longer purchasing a product because it aligns with your genuine lifestyle or fulfills a practical need. You are purchasing it because your subconscious mind is absolutely terrified of being left behind by the tribe. This sinister design framework is known throughout the modern tech industry as a dark pattern, and it functions as a highly sophisticated digital trap that completely strips away your conscious choice while making you feel entirely in control. What most people never realize is that this psychological manipulation goes significantly deeper than just clicking a simple orange buy button on a popular online shopping application during a late-night scrolling session. Every single time you walk past a restaurant with an agonizingly long line out the door and choose to stand at the back of it, you are actively outsourcing your personal taste to a group of strangers. Your brain completely bypasses the logical question of whether the food is objectively good, because it blindly relies on a dangerous mental shortcut that equates immense popularity with undeniable, guaranteed quality. Stay with me, because what I am about to show you in the next 2 minutes is the exact part of behavioral science that changes how you will look at your own personality for the rest of your life. Think about the clothing choices you made over the past year, or the specific car model you currently dream of owning, and ask yourself if those desires originated within your soul or on a curated social feed. When an individual sees a specific luxury product repeated across 5 different social media accounts of people they vaguely perceive as peers, the brain initializes a process called descriptive norm matching. Your mind subtly recalculates what constitutes a normal lifestyle baseline, and suddenly, spending money you do not have on items you do not need feels like an act of basic social survival rather than reckless financial luxury. This is the exact dark mechanism behind modern lifestyle inflation, where smart, well-educated professionals earning high 6-figure salaries still find themselves completely broke at the end of every single month. They are trapped inside a continuous, high-stakes psychological simulation where the collective crowd is constantly shifting the finish line, forcing them to spend money just to maintain a fragile illusion of belonging. What makes this entire phenomenon incredibly terrifying is that even when we are explicitly told that the crowd is being manipulated, our subconscious minds still stubbornly choose to follow the herd. In the early 1950s, a visionary psychologist named Solomon Asch conducted a series of legendary conformity experiments that laid bare the dark, fragile reality of human intellectual independence. Dr. Asch placed a single real participant in a room filled with 7 structural actors who were secretly instructed to give the exact same, completely incorrect answer to a series of blindingly obvious visual line-matching questions. When surrounded by a unified wall of total strangers asserting an obvious lie, over 75% of the real participants actively denied their own eyesight and conformed to the incorrect crowd at least once. The terrifying takeaway from this landmark psychological data is that human beings would genuinely rather be completely wrong alongside the tribe than experience the agonizing social pain of standing completely alone. Now, take that exact same vulnerability and multiply it by the global, hyper-connected scale of the modern internet infrastructure that completely dominates your daily life from morning until night. When you browse a popular travel platform and see a bright badge labeling a specific room as a bestseller, your logical brain shuts down because it instantly assumes thousands of people cannot possibly be wrong. Major corporations spend millions of dollars every single year creating these subtle, artificial badges because they know it completely bypasses your critical thinking faculties and accelerates your time to checkout. Think about the streaming platforms you use, where the interface explicitly highlights the top 10 trending shows in your country to heavily dictate what you choose to watch during your precious evening downtime. You are not independently discovering art or entertainment based on your deeply personal tastes. You are simply consuming whatever the centralized algorithm has artificially pushed to the front of the digital line. This relentless social programming slowly erodes your unique individuality over time, turning your deep personal lifestyle preferences into a predictable, copy-pasted reflection of whatever happens to be trending online today. The ultimate goal of this psychological warfare is to turn you into an incredibly efficient, highly predictable consumer unit that automatically responds to the manufactured signals of social validation. When you purchase a vehicle or an expensive smartphone simply because it is what successful people in your specific social circle are expected to own, you are actively paying a massive tax to the herd. You are trading away your actual, real-world financial freedom just to buy a temporary, fleeting sense of psychological security that evaporates the moment the collective crowd changes the trend next season. But here is the critical turning point of this video, because you absolutely do not have to remain a helpless, passive victim to these dark psychological patterns any longer. The absolute best research-backed strategy to completely neutralize the power of social proof is to force a deliberate 24-hour friction delay between the initial psychological trigger and the final physical transaction. When you remove yourself from the immediate digital environment of artificial countdown timers, fake social reviews, and trending notifications, your ancient survival brain finally de-escalates its state of high alert. The artificial sense of urgency completely evaporates into thin air, allowing your logical prefrontal cortex to step in and ask if this purchase actually serves your personal long-term financial freedom. Another exceptionally powerful shield against this hidden manipulation is to intentionally unfollow any digital curation accounts that exist solely to broadcast what other people are buying or wearing. By strictly controlling the visual inputs that enter your subconscious mind every single day, you effectively starve the social comparison mechanism before it ever has a chance to manipulate your wallet. True personal freedom begins the exact moment you stop asking what everyone else is choosing and instead find the immense courage to look inward at your own authentic value system. Let us pull all of this together into one clear, unforgettable realization so that you can see exactly how the trap operates the very next time you open your phone to browse an online marketplace. Your brain has a beautiful, ancient survival mechanism designed to follow the safety of the crowd, but modern corporations have successfully hacked this software to systematically extract your hard-earned wealth. The very next time you feel a powerful, urgent impulse to buy an item because it is trending online, I want you to pause and ask who is actually making that decision. Are you purchasing that product because it brings genuine, lasting utility to your life? Or are you just running away from the imaginary predator of social exclusion that the algorithm manufactured? True financial autonomy does not come from buying what the collective crowd validates. It comes from having the absolute courage to step entirely out of the line and make choices that are authentically yours. Once you break free from the invisible script of social proof, you will suddenly realize that you need far fewer things to feel completely secure and happy in your own skin. Share this video with exactly one person you care about who deserves to understand this hidden psychological manipulation, because one single raw conversation about this could permanently change how they see money and themselves.